Hey everybody, and welcome to my in5 series where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. Bugout wrote in and asked if I have any general effects strategies, and I'm going to start by just saying I'm assuming I have unlimited effects, so I can go do whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about resampling or doing anything else. I'm really just focused on what is the sound itself, or what am I trying to do with it. He gets into a couple other salient points that I will also discuss, but if I've got unlimited resources, really honestly, the first thing I'm trying to think about is just the shape of the sound here. And when I say shape, what I'm really talking about is the EQ at around 60 to 100 hertz and uh, um, like the sound over roughly like 18 kilohertz. So what I'm trying to do is usually cut cut low and cut high. There's a couple of reasons for this. One is I really want to try and make sure that at the low end, I'm not having like some low end that you can't really even hear stealing audio space. And then on the flip side, if you, the high end, I don't want things that like I either can't hear or just I don't want contributing to it. So this is a very broad um, you could think of it as just a very wide bandpass filter, but I'm just trying to filter out those things that may cause me some problems. Because the next part is compression, and I may or may not do this, but the question is, do I want, the question is, do I want dynamic range? And I'm putting this as a question because if I want dynamic range, I'm probably not using compression, or I'm very, very strategically and limitedly using it to just kind of help bring stuff up or down just a little bit. But frequently for me, I like actually having a pretty broad dynamic range, which I know a lot of folks want to compress the hell out of stuff to make it as loud as possible. But for me, it's more, especially here, it's more of a subtle effect to just try and take like a vocal or take like a instrument that might be hard to play consistently for a consistent volume and kind of just get it a little bit under control. But the compression here, again, like because we've taken the shape out or like reduced anything that's below like these 60 to 100 kilohertz, for example, this is making sure that the compression is working on the dynamic range that we want it to, and we don't have range outside of that that might be stealing some of the gas out of that compression effect. From here, I'm personally usually looking at tone. So this is going to be things that are going to just help shape the sound into something different. So it might be distortion, might be like a cassette effect, um, sample rate kind of stuff. Like I don't know, like any like I'm trying to think like what else do I usually do here? I don't know, like Flavor Pro has like so many different things like vinyl. I don't know, like whatever your uh, sound of choices. But like usually this is where you're going to bring in and help tone and just kind of get the sound to be a little bit more consistent or push it into a space where it has something different in the sound. And this will end up helping you get that kind of, this is like what I would consider the sound design. And the shaping and the compression is just helping kind of get it into a place where we can consistently have the effect work, because some effects are going to be dynamic range dependent and they will sound different based on the volume of the sound. So you may like find out like I got to turn the compression off because it's not doing what I need, or you might be like, oh, I need to be adjusting it a little bit more because like the distortion's not screaming as loud as I like. But this is kind of where I would go with it. From here, if I'm looking for anything that's going to be rhythmic, whoops, I don't know. I guess I'm in eraser. But like for me, like next step would be like anything rhythmic. Do I want a delay? Do I want like a synced phaser, tremolo, phaser? I don't know. My spelling's not terrible. Just my writing, handwriting at an angle apparently is terrible. Tremolo, any of these things where you're slicer, even, these are effects that I usually try and put after the tone, but these two I would say are kind of, you can switch them either way because the order can very dramatically change how something sounds. But I would say, kind of mix and match and see what works for you. It's going to vary from sound to sound, but yeah, this is kind of where I would go. From here, this is where I'm now kind of entering what I would call like space, um, spatial. Um, and what I'm like really talking about here is going to tend to be reverb, can be maybe delay. These are things that are going to help set where it is that you're kind of helping people understand. So like even like at this point, like it could be like a low pass filter. Like you're trying, like are you trying to push this back? If you're thinking about a stage where people are standing up and running this instrument, are they like back? Do you want them back? Like you, if you use a low pass filter, you can pull them back and forth, like bring them more forward by adjusting where the filter is. Similar with a reverb, like the more reverb that you put on it, you're kind of almost like pushing them back into like a canyon, is how it might sound. And like delays with that echo can also have kind of a similar effect. Like, somebody says hello and you get like that repeat, like where are they spatially as a sound? So depending on how you're using it, it can really depend on what you're doing. From here, at this point, as I'm trying to like kind of wrap things up, doing a double compression is not always bad. I may come back in and do a compressor again, compressor or limiter, as I now am trying to, this is kind of control the result a bit, get like it a little bit under control, make sure it hits like I'm either hitting or not going above a certain dB. Um, and then from here, I will usually do another shape where I will do a final EQ, kind of like up top, but I'm looking to really make sure if there's like anything this is like EQ for overall mix. Like where do I want this instrument to sit within the mix versus like the first EQ up top is really about just trying to control the input coming into like doing all of this other sound. Um, from there, that's kind of about it. As I said, there may be like more or less of things in these different columns, but there's been plenty of times I've gone about and put together like chains that I'll reuse because I'm like I just like the way this sounds, and other times I'm like this is kind of a one-off thing special for this particular instrument. So it totally depends. But yeah, bug out. I hope this helps at least give you like a little bit of a thought on what I try and do, especially if I have access to infinite effects and can kind of go about really working on getting a proper mix and leading into a proper master. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Keep making music. Keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.